here's the video, and hopefully, if and when I do review Zelda, if you claim that shit, I'll fucking take your ass to court, because that is where I'll fucking cross the line, all right? So
you do not just have the inherent right to just play their video. However, since you actually critique their video and give your thoughts and opinions on what they are saying and what they are doing, you are protected under fair use.
The agony!
Ironically, I came across AngryJoe's video because it was suggested, so for entertainment purposes I watched it. And then I saw that and I was like, this guy has no clue what fair use is. I'm just saying, he has no clue what fair use is. Just like the majority of people on YouTube don't really know what the fuck fair use is. And then of course we have the other clip of an individual responding to the 1316Killer and his brazed over definition of what fair use is. But ironically, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You want to know something? It goes deeper than that, all right? This isn't like copyright, like writing a story or an article, an essay, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, all right? Which is automatically protected by copyright law. It's not the same, all right? In fact, when AngryJoe actually states that if Nintendo flagged his review of the upcoming Zelda game, that he would take their ass to court, there is no guarantee, even under fair use, that he would actually win. Because it has to be determined whether or not what he was doing, in fact, what he does as a whole and what he did as a whole to the video in general actually fits under fair use. So let's check this out, all right? I'm going to insert pictures. All right. So if we go to copyright.gov, I know. Yeah, fuck your Wikipedia. Let's go to a real fucking source, ladies and gentlemen. Fair use is a legal doctrine that promotes freedom of expression by permitting the unlicensed use of copyrighted, protected works in certain circumstances. Take note of the last two fucking words. Certain circumstances. Meaning that just because you think your shit's under fair use, it can totally be determined by somebody else that it's not fair use. Duh. All right, so now let's just continue onward, all right? Section 1.7 of the Copyright Act provides the statutory framework for determining whether something is fair use and identifies certain types of uses, such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research as examples of activities that may, take note of the key word there, may qualify as fair use. Again, two key words, may qualify. It's not a fucking guarantee. Section 107 calls for consideration of the following four factors in evaluating a question of fair use. All right, so purpose and character of the use, including whether the use is of a commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes. Courts look at how the party claiming fair use is using the copyrighted work and are more likely to find that the nonprofit educational and non-commercial uses are fair. That does not mean, however, that all nonprofit education and non-commercial uses are fair and all commercial uses are not fair. Instead, courts will balance the purpose and character of the use against the other factors below. Additionally, transformative uses are more likely to be considered fair. Transformative uses are those that add something new with a further purpose of different character and do not substitute for the original use of thy work. Now, what we've already iterated there is that even though it's even if it is transformative, it really depends on if it is truly transformative. And this isn't a video about whether or not Angry Joe's fucking videos are transformative. This is a video about everyone jumping to the immediate defense that they are automatically protected by fair use. No, you're not. You have to meet all 4 of the criteria. And even then, it can still be, as it already stated, a nonprofit and educational purposes is more likely to be considered fair use, but there have been cases where that was denied. And the opposite to that, commercial use, not fair, but there have been cases where, yes, that is fair use. Nature of the copyrighted work. This factor analyzes the degree to which the work that was used relates to copyright's purpose of encouraging creative expression. Thus, using a more creative and imaginative work, such as a novel, movie, or song, is less likely to support a claim of fair use than using a factual work, such as technical articles or news items. In addition, use of an unpublished work is less likely to be considered fair use. Now let's just think about this for a second, all right? So we're not even talking about his Angry Joe's claim to suing Nintendo for a Zelda review. We're not even talking about that right now. We're jumping to in the same video where he talks about how his Nintendo Switch video kept getting flagged, all right? Perhaps that's because, well, the Nintendo Switch isn't out yet. Do you see this area of grayness where it's like, do you honestly qualify to actually fit within the realm of what you do actually being fair use? And there's no denying that when it comes to, let's see, where is it? Transformative, Angry Joe in of itself and some other YouTubers have that ideology down to the T. That their videos are transformative. Again, this isn't about whether or not Angry Joe's videos are transformative. This really isn't even fucking about Angry Joe if he could win a case within a review. The ideology of this is that so many people throw the words around fair use as if they know what the fuck it means. But the reality of it is just because your shit's fair use does not inherently mean you are automatically protected. Because you could easily go to court and you could fucking lose. Just as you could easily go to court and fucking win. It really depends on the circumstances and everything in between. You know, that shit between the lines. Usually the crap that people don't read because it's very lengthy, long, and it's just redundant within of itself. Amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. Under this factor, courts look at both the quantity and quality of the copyrighted material that was used. If the use includes a large portion of the copyrighted work, fair use is less likely to be found. So let's actually look at an Angry Joe. We're not literally going to look at an Angry Joe video. I mean that metaphorically. Try to keep up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, his videos average anywhere, let's say, 15 to 30 minutes reviews. All right, now we ultimately could figure out if the video contains more of him or if it contains more of the actual copyrighted material. So if he actually shows more footage of the copyrighted material than himself, then yes, guess what? He could be denied fair use, just like any other YouTuber, regardless if it's transformative. Because there needs to be, I'm not going to say an equal amount, but there needs to be more creativeness, more transparentiveness over it. Just because you think your stuff is transparentive, and Angry Joe's videos are transparentive, does not inherently mean that lengthwise, depending on how much of the copyrighted stuff is actually within the video itself, also plays a factor in whether or not, guess what? It could actually be considered fair use. All right, so if I show a trailer Let's say it's 30 seconds of a game that's already out. I'm going to review it. I do it at the very beginning. And then after that, that is the only footage that I've shown. And I just continue to talk about the game without showing any more footage. I obviously fit within the realm of fucking fair use. With the exception, based on how lengthy my video is. 3 minutes? Sure, why not? All right? What about 30 seconds? I mean, that'd be like literally a minute video, 30 seconds of the trailer, and then 30 seconds of me talking about it. Who do you think would honestly win within that fight of fair use? Think about that for a second. All right? So length of time versus what you put into it versus the copyrighted material that you've actually also put into it. Which is greater? That said, some courts have found use of an entire work to be fair under certain circumstances, and in other contexts, using even a small amount of copyrighted work was determined not to be fair because the selection was an important part of the heart of the work. Do you see what I'm getting at when I'm reading this, all right? This is to educate people on what fair use is. This isn't like writing a fucking blog or writing a short story or a novel. You are not automatically protected by copyright. Even if you start your video and be like, fair use, that don't mean dick, all right? That does not mean you're automatically fucking protected by fair use if you did that in every video. Because it really comes down to what the fuck we're talking about in this video. What I'm explaining. People throw fair use around like it's fucking candy given out for free. That's not how this fucking shit works. I mean, I just gave you a description that told you that certain circumstances would allow you to use the entire copyrighted material of something, and it could be considered fair use, depending on certain circumstances. And then, even just using a small amount, such as 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, could also be considered not fair use. Do you get what we're getting at when it comes to fair use? It seems to almost as if fair use is actually subjective. Because there is no definitiveness of, hey, this is how this is what you need, this is what you can't, and you totally protect it. There's none of that shit within fair use. There are so many things within fair use that you're not automatically protected. All right, so let's jump to the next one. All right. Effects of use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Here, courts review whether and to what extent the unlicensed use harms the existing or future market of the copyright owner's original work. In assessing this factor, courts consider whether the use is hurting the current market for the original work, for example, for displaying sales of the original, and or whether the use could cause substantial harm if it were to become widespread. All right, so let's say just fucking out there, all right, within the realm, because people are stupid. We know this, you know this, everybody knows this. Everybody knows a dumb motherfucker, all right? You probably have quite a few people in your Facebook friend list that fit into the category of one dumb motherfucker, and somehow you're still shocked that you're friends with them, but you put aside their stupidity because there's just something that you catch to them, besides their stupidity. So, everything that we're talking about is subjective. There are so many different circumstances, so many things within fair use that, once again, you're not automatically protected. So yes, guess what? If Nintendo were to flag AngryJoe's future said video, he could easily go to court and he could easily win. Depending on the people that analyze fair use, how he used it, from what I've explained, and they could ultimately find in his favor, or they could even, yes, find not in his favor, and Nintendo wins. So, you know, this isn't fucking black and white, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't fucking one straight shot pot, copyrighted, protected shit. No. Fair use is subjective. There are too many circumstances to honestly scrutinize whether or not what you have done is honestly true fair use. Again, I read the example given from the official copyright.gov website. There was a case of an entire copyrighted material used. It was considered fair use. There was also an area where a small portion was used. Not fair use. We've also talked about the length of the copyrighted material that you're using. Anyway, a link to the shit I just fucking talked about is in the description box below. A link to the corresponding videos that were in the very beginning of this video, hence why I decided to create this video, are also in the description box below. And remember, gamers, if you're not voicing your thoughts and concerns about the hypocrisy and stupidity of some dumbass fucking gamers out there that love playing the fair use card and clearly don't fucking understand what the fuck it actually means because they're too fucking ignorant and probably actually get their shit off of fucking Wikipedia. This shit is not fucking rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. All you need to understand is basic English and hopefully have some motherfucking common sense.
Tactical nuke incoming!